And so we want to see what are some of the areas in which people can be assertive. Then we also look at the importance of being assertive. What's the importance of assertiveness? Then we also look at some of the barriers that make people not to be assertive. Many people, they wonder, why is it that maybe my partner doesn't talk to me in a nice way? Why is it that my friends can't communicate to me in a nice way? What are some of those barriers, that people face when it comes to being assertive? Then we'll also look at how people can be able to overcome those barriers. How can you overcome barriers of being assertive? It could be in your family, it could be with your friends, it could be with you as an individual. How can you overcome some of these barriers, including in your marriage, in your relationship? How can you overcome these barriers? Then we'll also look at why it is hard for some people to be assertive. And does mental health illnesses contribute to someone not being assertive? So these are some of the things that we'll look at. Then we'll also look at the importance of assertiveness in someone's growth. Does assertiveness play a role, in someone's growth? So we'll look at that. Then we'll also look at some of the ways in which someone can be assertive, or what someone can do so that they can become assertive. Yeah. Thank you so much for listening to this program. Yeah, so what is assertiveness? So assertiveness is a way of communication, where you state what you want in a more clear, firm, and calm manner. For example, if you need something from someone, how are you able to communicate to that person? So you need to say something in a more gentle, firm, and clear manner. So you need to be straight to the point. So as human beings, we make meaningful connections to people through communications. That desire that we have to make meaningful communications, we get to make it to people. So as we do that, we need more of assertiveness. Many marriages, many friendships, many bonds have been destroyed because of lack of assertiveness. So this is something that we are looking at today, so that people out there, you can be able to learn something from this, so that you can make enduring bonds within your friendships, within your relationships, or within your marriages. So for you to have a nurturing, independent, dependent, good relationship, you need to have this assertiveness. So when you're passing information, you need to be clear. That's the first thing. Your information is supposed to be clear. So as you are doing that, you need to see the choice of words that you're using towards someone. Your words need to be clear. They need to carry this assertiveness into it. They need to carry gentleness. When you want to talk to someone, you need to look at the choice of words that you are using. Then as you are doing that, you need to be more confident. You need to carry confidence. My name is Assertiveness, so you need to have confidence. As I'm speaking to you, I'm having this confidence within me. So even you, as you're passing this information, you need more confidence, so that when you are talking to your friend, when you're talking to your partner, you have this confidence within yourself. And then you should also be talking to them in a more calm manner. When you're talking to someone in a more calm manner, they'll be willing to listen to you. But if you're talking to someone to respond, meaning that the communication won't go anywhere. Many people, they always find it hard to communicate, or they're not heard for what they want to communicate. It's because they are not being assertive, or they listen to someone to respond. For example, bakakamba so bazaona nizayanga. So such kind of things, they make people not to be to be heard of what they're talking about. So when you're talking to someone, or when someone is talking to you, you need to listen to understand what someone is saying, not to listen to respond to someone. So by being assertive, you even know when to say no or when to say yes. For some people, everything that comes, they just say yes Everything that comes, they just say no. So when you're assertive, you have the ability to say no when it's the time to say no. So being assertive will help you in several ways. Yeah, so we've looked at what assertiveness is. Then in what areas can people be assertive? There are different ways in which people can be assertive. For example, if you want to make a request from your partner, how are you going to be assertive? So when you are making a request, you need to be assertive. If you're asking for something from your partner, you need to be assertive. It could be from your bosses, it could be from your friends. You need to show assertiveness. Even when you want to disagree to something, or when you want to agree to disagree something, your words need to show assertiveness. So in all these areas, whether you're at church, whether you're at school, any place where you are, your words need to show assertiveness. When you do that, your communication is going to be very good, and it will be easier for people to approach you because your words carry assertiveness. Now, what's the importance of assertiveness? Does this assertiveness, have any importance? Does it play any role into someone's life? So this assertiveness is very important into someone's life because it helps with someone's personal growth. So once I am being assertive with myself, I'll know how to communicate to myself in a more clear manner. Many people, they've gone into depression, they are having these mental health illnesses, or they're not loved by people because they don't have this assertiveness within themselves. They don't know how to communicate with themselves in a gentle manner. They don't know how to pass a clear message or a calm message to themselves. For example, the self-messages, that you tell yourself, they really play a big role into someone. So when you're talking to yourself, me, I don't like myself, maybe I can't do it anymore. So such kind of messages, they can affect your life. So when you know how to talk to yourself in a more calm manner, I love myself, I can do this, I'm capable of doing ABCD. So such kind of messages, you talk to yourself in a more gentle and more confident manner. You'll be able to grow as an individual. And then once you know how to communicate with yourself, in an assertive manner, you even know how to communicate to your friends. You know how to communicate to your partner, how to communicate to your family because of this assertiveness. So, this assertiveness, it will also help you because if you're not assertive as an individual, how are you going to be assertive to your partner? So it has first to start with you. So assertiveness starts with you as an individual, and that's why now you can send it to some other people. Now, what are some of the barriers to assertive communication? To some people, it's natural for them to having this assertiveness. It's just something which they're born with. And to some people, there's just this barrier to assertiveness. Now, what are some of these barriers that people have, towards assertiveness? There's this barrier, fear of disconnection. You fear being disconnected from someone. If I tell him something, maybe my partner will get it in a wrong way. Maybe my friend won't understand me. Maybe they'll take it as a weakness. People fear disconnection. No wonder they fail to be assertive. They just want to say anything that just comes to their mind without looking at it, So this is a barrier. So one thing that I would love to tell you is that, assertiveness shouldn't be taken as a weakness. No. It's not supposed to be taken as a weakness, but assertiveness should be taken as being romantic. So when you're having a partner, then they're showing this assertiveness to you, you need to take that as something being romantic, not something to be a weakness. I've seen many couples, they're saying, no, my partner is just too calm, the way he talks to me. I just want him to be yelling at me. No, my friends, the way they talk to me, they just talk to me in a more calm manner. Or maybe my dad doesn't, this woman kalipila, my wife, such kind of things. So as you are doing that, you are making the communication to be heard. But if you start taking this assertiveness to be something more romantic, even the bonds that you'll be creating, they'll be more nurturing. People will start loving you. You create strong bonds within your family. You create strong bonds with your children, with your friends, including with your partners. You're going to create these bonds. And then the other barrier that, people have towards this assertive communication is issues to do with culture and social status. Culture, tradition, sometimes it plays a role. A man is said to be the head of the family, then a woman is said, no, such kind of things. So you find that even if a wife is having something to communicate, or maybe this lady wants to communicate something, they'll just keep it within themselves. It will just be burning inside. They won't have time to communicate because of these cultural issues. And then a man being the head of the house, he'll take it, no, everything is just all about me. I can do this, I can tell her anything that I want to take because it's all about me. Everything revolves around me. So culture, sometimes it is a barrier towards this assertiveness. So as people of God, as individuals, you need to look at it so that you need to possess this assertiveness. Yeah, so as we wrap up this show, we'll see how best you can develop this assertiveness. Even if we are living in a world of culture, we're living in a traditional world, there's something that you can discover about yourself, something that you can learn if this has been really a challenge for you. Then the other thing, is social status. Some people, they say, if I'm being soft to my friend, if I'm being soft to my children, if I'm being soft to my partner, maybe atvala mbwenamo, why is it that I don't yell at my wife? I'm too soft on her. They'll take it as a weakness. So because of that social status, many people, they are lacking this assertiveness skill. So it is a barrier within themselves. Now, how can people overcome this barrier? How can these barriers be overcome? So the only way to overcome these barriers, first, is by having self-awareness. Self-awareness is very vital in someone's life. So you need to have this self-awareness within yourself. So once you're aware of your emotions, you're aware of your values, you're aware of your beliefs, it's going to help you to know yourself better. Then once you know your well-being, it will be very easy for you, to put other people's interest in the first place. Then once you are having this self-awareness, it will even help you to know the qualities of assertiveness, stating something in a clear manner, stating something in a gentle manner, being more confident. As you do that, it's going to help you to overcome these barriers, self-awareness. Then you also need to look at the issue of, tradition. Tradition is just okay, but certain things, when it comes to respecting your partner, making things assertively, you need to look at it. You need to have a talk with your friends, have a talk with your child to see how best, you can be able to communicate your emotions to someone and how best they can be able to listen to you. Because if you're not assertive, to someone, it's going to make another person develop a mental health illness because your choice of words, they are not nice. They can injure someone's heart. And, people, they go into depression. People, they have trauma within themselves because of not being assertiveness. Yeah. So now, why is it so hard, to some people to be assertive? Do these mental health illnesses add up, or contribute to someone not being assertive? The answer is yes. Depending with someone's environment, where they grew up from, it's very possible for someone not to be assertive. For example, if Someone grew up from an environment where his or her parents, they were not assertive. Someone grew up, in an environment where you don't feel secure, you're always feeling anxious, you always avoid certain things. So you have this avoidance star within you. You have this, insecurities within you. Yeah. So all these things, they'll contribute you to having bad communication towards other people. You won't be assertive because you don't know the role of assertiveness. You take it, maybe my mom used to yell at people, so it's something that I need to do. Maybe my parents used to do this, so it's just a normal way of me doing things. So mental health illnesses, they contribute to people not being assertive. For example, these people with a depression, it could be trauma, those people who experience child abuse. So all these mental health illnesses, bipolar, they also contribute to someone not being assertive to people. You just feel irritability within yourself. You don't care about the people around you. It's like you become so egocentric. Everything revolves around you. It's all about you, yourself, So you don't care about other people because of these mental health illnesses. Yes. So this is just an encouragement to parents, you are having your children out there, you need to train them nicely how to communicate to people in a more calm manner, how to communicate your needs in a gentle manner. So as you do that, you're going to raise children who will be more, who have this assertiveness within themselves, such that when they grow up, even if they want to marry someone, they'll have this skill within themselves, then they'll be able to communicate their needs in a nice way. Now, what's the importance of this assertiveness in someone's personal growth? Just come to think of it. Did it ever cross your mind that assertiveness is important in someone's growth? Sometimes when you're home, you need to be asking yourself these questions. Am I assertive to my friends? Am I assertive to my partner? Am I assertive to my children? Once you start asking yourself these questions, then sometimes it can even be good, you sit your partner down, it could be your friend, do I have this quality of assertiveness? Once you discover that, they can tell you, here you've been doing okay, here the other time you didn't talk to me in a nice way. So it will help you to work on the area which you don't do okay. So once you are aware about yourself, you have this assertiveness within yourself, it will help you to grow because you know what to do, and everything that you'll be doing it with more confidence, you'll be doing it with more gentleness, you won't be too harsh on yourself. So in short, assertiveness will help you to have a good mental health. So, people who are having this skill, assertiveness, it will help you to have a good mental health. Then once you are having a good mental health, it means that your thoughts, they'll be okay. Your behavior towards people, it will all carry assertiveness. Even, the way you do things, your emotions, everything, they'll carry assertiveness. Because once this sadness comes, you are going to apply assertiveness. Because you're having this self-awareness within yourself, you know how to handle that sadness with assertiveness. You won't be too harsh on yourself. This anger, maybe someone presses you off, it could be a friend says something bad, you are being bullied at school or anywhere where you are, someone just utters a bad word on you. Because you are having this assertiveness within yourself, it's going to help you to calm yourself down, to be gentle with yourself. And before you say something, you're going to think about it. What are some of these, like the choice of words that I want to use on someone? Are they good words? Are they bad words? So as you do that, it's going to help you to start reflecting within yourself to see how best you can be able to talk to people, to soothe yourself down. So as you do that, it's going to help you with your personal growth. You will be growing, your mental health will be very healthy. Now, what's the importance of this assertiveness in a family setup? Does this assertiveness, play a role in a family setup? Yes, it does play a role. Many children, they've been affected in these families because there is no assertiveness from their parents, or they don't know how to communicate to each other. So you find that someone will be living with a mental health illness in a family. They won't be able to express it up, and you find that if maybe a couple, they don't know how to talk to each other, even the children, they'll be affected. They'll get that as a normal way of solving things. Then, they'll be going with these mental health illnesses. Yeah. So assertiveness is so vital in a family setup because it will help families, to know how to communicate to each other in a more calm manner. They'll know when to talk and when not to talk. It will also help the children to be more comfortable, to be more open, to you as parents. As children, we are very glad, when our mothers, they just talk to us in a more calm manner. Even if we've done something very bad, you don't need to resort to shouting, you don't need to resort to beating. So you need to talk to us children in a more calm manner. And then we even appreciate your efforts in doing so, because we'll be able to open up the issues which have been affecting us. For example, when we look at this world, there are a lot of things happening. There's this peer pressure around us, Many children, teenagers, they are having this pressure of maybe drugs, sex. So if parents are being assertive with their children, it will help the children, to open up to them, telling them the issues which are affecting them. So as parents, I urge you to be assertive to your children, because you are going to create this nurturing bond within yourselves. Your children will be trusting you. They'll be telling you everything. They won't even be hiding anything. Even if there's someone, who is harassing your child, it's very easy for your child to communicate to you. And even when, if a family is assertive, it's also going to help others, to learn something from you. And then, what's the importance of this assertiveness, in relationships or in a marriage setup? Yeah. So if you are in a relationship, if you're in a marriage, you need to be assertive to your partner, because once you're assertive, your bond is going to be strengthened within your relationship, and your partner is going to communicate their needs in a more calm manner. And then if both partners, they're both assertive, you even know to say, if your partner is communicating something, you even put yourself in your partner's shoes. You have empathy for someone, feeling for someone. You say, no, if my partner is saying this, I think I need to do this, because you are having this self-awareness. And it's also going to help you to come into terms, so that you can both benefit from whatever is being discussed. So assertiveness is going to help you in your marriage, to strengthen your marriage, to make it strong. And it's also going to help you, know how to communicate to others, and you're going to be a role model, because once you're assertive, you know even where your relationship is going. It will even take you a long way. Many relationships have ended, many marriages have ended because people lack assertiveness. Yeah. So the first thing, to a strong marriage, to a strong relationship, it all starts with communication. So this communication needs to possess assertiveness. Before all these things comes in, before love, before trust comes in, it all starts with communication. It all starts with assertiveness. Because if you are having this love within yourself, then you're not assertive, then your love is in vain. It doesn't mean anything. But once you have this assertive love, you have this assertive trust in someone, you are going to create the strongest bond with someone. Yes. Now, what can someone do to have this assertiveness? What is it that you and I can do to have this assertiveness? It's not all about you. Even me as your therapist, I also need to have assertiveness. When I'm talking to you as clients, when you come to me, I'm supposed to possess assertiveness. Communicating with clients, they come with different problems. They come with depression, they're traumatized, they come with this abuse within themselves. So me being a psychotherapist and you, being my friend, being my client, how is this assertiveness important in you and me? What's the importance? Me having this self-awareness, you having this assertiveness. What's the importance of it? So assertiveness will help you know how to communicate to your friends so that you shouldn't injure them. Imagine this is a client who comes to me, then maybe someone is traumatized because of their past experience, someone is having grief, So if I'm being assertive, I'll know how to put myself in someone's shoes, My client is feeling this way, so I need to respond in a more calm manner. And assertiveness will help you know how to use your emotions. It's not every time that when someone is talking to you, you need to smile, or maybe you need to respond, with a loud voice. Yeah. So this assertiveness will help you, depending on someone's message, it will help you to respond in a more calm manner. So if someone is talking to you about grief, they lost their loved one, even your emotions, the way you're talking to them, it needs to show this assertiveness. So assertiveness will help you carry, the facial expression, your body expression with what your partner is saying. You even know what my partner is saying right now is very serious, or I need to show in, this phrase so that I show this empathy that I have towards someone. So this is very vital. So once you're having this assertiveness and together with self-awareness, it will help you know how to communicate to someone, to communicate to your bosses, to communicate to your workers. Assertiveness. So this skill, everyone can possess it. It doesn't matter if you're a child, even as early as 2, a child just starts talking. You need to teach your child these skills. It's very vital. You need to teach your child these skills. You're working, you can be a doctor, you can be a nurse, you can be a police officer. How are you able to talk to clients who come your way? You need to possess assertiveness. Certain people, they fear going to these offices because they say maybe the boss won't talk to me in a nice way, maybe I'll get shouted at, So if you're having this assertiveness as a leader, it's very easy for people to approach you. People are going to approach you. You're going to build this strong friendship within your workmates, and everything is going to be perfect because you'll be loved by people. So always know that if you're assertive to people, you're not carrying a weakness within yourself. No, in fact, you are just being so romantic. So anytime you are being assertive to someone, just know that you are doing the act of romantic. You're playing the act of romance to someone, not that it is a weakness to someone else. Yeah. So with couples, when you want to make these requests, you need to look at the environment. Yeah. So many people, they don't know how to, apply this assertiveness because, you just want to talk to your partner or to talk to your friend, to talk to your child, to talk to your mother. For example, if your mother or your father were at work, then there's something that you want to communicate to your parents. You need to wait for them. So as they come in, you can greet them. But sometimes, the facial expression of someone, the body expression of someone, it says a lot about them. So if someone is really tired, you can see in their face that someone is tired. So you need to wait for someone, not until when they cool down, that's when you can be able to communicate. Because when you communicate to someone at a wrong time, they'll be able to respond to you, in a rude way, such that, even the communication or the assertiveness that you had within yourself, it will just go out. Then you start maybe exchanging words, which won't be nice. So you need to look at the setting, the time. When are you going to communicate to someone? So even if someone is tired, you can talk to them. Okay, I would like us to talk about something. So when you're free or when you rest a bit, we can discuss about something. That's very good. Not just going direct. So the same applies to couples in relationships, the same applies to couples who are married. You need to look at the setting. Communication is very good, assertiveness is very good, but sometimes you need to look at the time in which you're communicating to someone. Maybe your partner comes home late, then let's say maybe your partner always comes home late, then you want to communicate to your partner. What time do you communicate? You just go direct, telling someone, why do you always come home late? Why are you like this? It's not, it doesn't happen like that. You need to be assertive. So once you're assertive, you look at the time, then you look at how are you communicating with your partner. Why are you communicating with your partner? So if you have the reasons why you want to communicate, you need to look at the choice of your words. Yes. And then many couples or many people, they always get it wrong. They feel when they want to talk to someone, they just use, no, I want to talk to you. Come here, I want to talk to you. It doesn't happen like that. So if you're in a relationship, if you're in a marriage, it's not about I, it's not about you. It's about us or we, us or we. So when couples do that, it's going to strengthen their marriage, because your partner will know to say, my partner includes me in this conversation, not just about, no, I want to talk to you. It becomes something more forceful. Then even your partner will start fearing, what is it that this person wants to tell me? Did I do anything bad? But if you say, I would like us to talk, it's about us. It's not all about you talking to your partner. It's about the two of you talk. We need. It means that conversation, it includes you and your partner together. So as you do that, it's going to help you strengthen your relationship or your marriage, because your partner will know to say you are including him or her in that conversation. I would like us to talk about something, when we do this, such kind of expressions, they are very vital when it comes to communication. Yeah. So as you are doing that, again, like I said, you also need to look at the environment towards you. I've seen ladies sometimes, women, these ones who are married, sometimes they would want to communicate. Maybe the husband is good, maybe your partner is not yet in, or maybe there are children around. Then you just want to pass that message, Why is that you've come late home? Why do you always do this? So if the environment towards you is not okay, meaning that the communication that you want to say to your partner, it won't be effective because you didn't look at that environment. So when you want to pass information to your friend, or if maybe your friend has offended you, or it could be you've noticed something that your friend is doing which you didn't like, you don't need to tell your friend, when there's other friends around, or when there are people around you. It could be your partner, it could be your child. You need to correct your child one-on-one, not when there's everyone else. Many children, they become so stubborn because parents, they would want to correct a child, or even maybe beat a child, when there are people around. Beating a child outside home where everyone is looking, just something like that. Yeah, so it becomes something bad to someone receiving that counsel. So as you want to pass communication to someone, you really need to look at communication. So once you look at communication, it's going to help you, know how best, you'll be communicating. Even the person whom you're communicating this to, they'll have that assertiveness within themselves. Let's say, for example, this is a parent, then maybe they're having a child who is maybe somewhere at 16, 20, then they want to pass this, counsel. Yeah. So if a parent just comes in more harsh, then they do it when they're with their friends, many children, they get to lose this respect for someone because a parent didn't do it in an assertive manner. Then they didn't even look at that environment. So as parents, I'm urging you so that when you want to give this counsel, to give this correction to your child, you really need to look at the environment, where your child is. Then as you are doing that, you need to maintain eye contact. Couples, you need to maintain eye contact to show that what you are saying, is more important. To some people, you find that maybe you want to talk to someone, you're looking somewhere else, they'll say what you're saying doesn't carry more weight, or it's not important because you're not having eye contact with them. So even as parents, you need to sit your child down, you talk to your child in a nice way. Then you can even touch the shoulder to show that, so that someone can get attention from you. It could be parents, holding your child's shoulders, leaning on someone. Then even couples, you can do that just to get someone's attention, and so that, they can see that what you want to say, is carrying more weight. It's something very important. And then when it comes to couples, you need to call someone by name. Many people, they'll say, no, how can you call your husband or your wife, or maybe you're in a relationship, how can you call your partner by name? Calling someone by name, it will just remind them of who they are. Then it will even trap their attention to listen to you. If maybe in that relationship or marriage you've always been using babe, my love, such kind of sweet words, so this is the time now you need to call your partner by name. Convenience, I would like us to talk about something, maybe Peter, such kind of names. Yeah, so once you do that, it's going to, get your partner's attention. My partner doesn't always call me by this name, so it means that today she's got something more important to say, or he's got something more important to say. So you're going to catch someone's attention just by calling someone's name. And again, when you're calling your partner's name or your child's name, you need to carry this assertiveness. You don't need to shout, raise your pitch, or make it low, but you need to say it in a gentle manner, a way in which someone is going to listen to you. Then they won't even say, but why calling me in such kind of a manner? So as you do that, it's going to help you a lot. Yeah. So today we've learned a lot of things. Yeah, and thank you so much that you're just following me. So we've looked at assertiveness, what it is. So we've seen that assertiveness is stating what you want in a more clear, firm, and gentle manner. Anytime you want to communicate, you need to possess this assertiveness within yourself. You need to talk to someone in a gentle manner. As you are doing that, you need to stand up for yourself, but in a way that will show that you are not stubborn, but you're confident within yourself, like the message that you want to pass to your partner. Then once you're assertive, you develop this awareness within yourself. Then this awareness, it will just help you to have more empathy, towards your partner, towards your child, towards your family, towards your parents. So assertiveness is something very vital. Then it's also going to help you in your personal growth, because you're going to have healthy relationships. Healthy relationships, you have a healthy mind. Then once you have a healthy mind, healthy thoughts, healthy behavior, it means that your mental health is very perfect. Yeah. So always know that assertiveness plays a very big role in your mental health. If you want to run away from all these mental health illnesses, depression, bipolar, trauma, anger issues, post-traumatic stress disorder, these personality disorders, you need to cultivate assertiveness within yourself. So once you cultivate this skill, it's going to help you for your personal growth. Even the smile that you'll be wearing, it will all carry assertiveness, because it won't be a smile which you'll be faking, it will be a genuine smile, and you know when to show that smile. You know how to carry that information which you want to talk to your child, to talk to your partner. So it's going to help you. Yeah. And then again, when it comes to your workmates, it could be your friends at school, whether you're being bullied, or whether someone has insulted you. Once you have this assertiveness within yourself, it will help you know how to maintain that relationship, know what to do at that particular moment, not to listen to respond to someone, but to listen to understand. And if it's couples, this assertiveness will help you. For example, if your partner is communicating something to you, and then they've started with this assertiveness nicely, and then all of a sudden they just say something which you didn't like. If you're assertive enough, it will help you to carry up or to tap the most important thing that your partner said, which is going to build your relationship or your marriage, and to forget about this other thing which you didn't like. So it all goes with assertiveness. So please, let's all possess this quality. Then if you are not having this assertiveness within your family, if being assertive is really a challenge to you as an individual, if being assertive is a challenge to you as a mother, as a father, as couples, married couples, it's something which you can learn. It's actually a skill that you can learn as couples, as parents. So you can see any therapist of your choice. You can go to the hospital, you seek counseling. They'll be able to teach you on this skill. You can come to me again, for therapy, so that we can be able to teach you on how to go about this skill, assertiveness, self-awareness, and mindfulness, of which we already looked at self-awareness. We also looked at mindfulness. So today we are just looking at assertiveness. So once you do all these things, it will help you in your personal growth. So as you are doing that, you need to be more self-soothing. You need to be more self-reflecting. You need to reflect on your behavior, learning something from your behavior. This behavior that I'm carrying, what does it speak about me? Do people love this behavior? Do people hate this behavior? The way I come out talking to my partner, talking to my mom, talking to my child, does it carry assertiveness? Try to ask your partners, try to ask your children, try to ask your mothers, try to ask your fathers, try to ask your friends, or even your workmates. Try to ask these workers that you have, even your bosses. Boss, how do I talk to you? To the choice of my words, carry assertiveness. As you do that, it will help you strengthen your relationship, your work relationship, strengthen your family relationship, strengthen your marriage, strengthen your bond as an individual. Then once you're having this assertiveness within yourself, it will also help you love yourself so much. Because if you don't know how to communicate yourself, you're going to have a low body image. You have, a low self-confidence, So it starts with you first, then it spreads to others. Yeah. So if you need more of this skill, you need to come to me for therapy. Yeah, you can call me on 0964 94 15 90, 0964 94 15 90, or you can reach me on our Facebook page, Heart and Soul Transformational Therapy Center, Heart and Soul Transformational Therapy Center. So you can come as an individual, you can come as a family, you can come as couples. Yeah, so as Heart and Soul Transformational Therapy Center, it's not all about me, we are a team. So we've got doctors, we've got psychiatrists, we've got pastors, we've got different people who will be able to attend to you. So if you're a couple, then you're saying, no, therapist Covenant looks like a child, she's too young, we have people who attend to you, married people actually, who are going to attend to you. Then if you're a youth, you're comfortable with me, well and good. If you're a couple, then you want to be given therapy by me, that's very much welcome. So you need to come to us for therapy, and then we'll be able to attend to you if you want to learn the skill of assertiveness, or if you're having any issues in your family, if you're having any issues in your relationship, if you're having issues with yourself as an individual, you don't know how to communicate, yourself, you need to come to us for therapy. We'll be more than glad to helping you. Sometimes it's not all about this assertiveness. It could be something else. It could be you're having these mental health illnesses. It could be bipolar. It could be depression. It could be anger issues. It could be personality disorders, like those people with schizophrenia, those people with histrionic personality disorder, people with narcissistic personality disorders. So such kind of people, you are more than welcome to us. We'll be more than glad to giving you this therapy that you deserve. Then once you do that, we'll also teach you, even if you didn't come to learn about assertiveness, we'll teach you assertiveness, we'll teach you self-awareness, we'll teach you mindfulness, so that to become more confident with yourself, you start loving yourself, your personal relationship with yourself, it becomes more stronger than ever. Yeah, so thank you so much. I hope you've learned one or two things. So from the things that you've learned, you need to share with your partner. You can share with your friends at school. You can share with your children. You can share as a family. You can share that. Then if you're an individual, you can start reflecting. You need to reflect about your relationships, about assertiveness. So once you do that, it's going to help you. Thank you so much. You've been with me, Kovines Mwengwe, psychotherapist. See you next time.
Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.